They say you are what you eat, so I don't eat chicken feet. But I love me some of Grandma's pickled beets. Well, cut it up, put it in the pan, throw it over your shoulder and see where it lands right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Maters, taters, beans and corn, the cows in the barn and the sheep's been shorn, kids in the barnyard chasing Grandpa's chicken. Chicken. Spices, slices, cuts and dices, gonna slash your grocery prices right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Help you grow your garden good with recipes to suit your mood. Try some grub you've never tried before. Smash it with a wooden mallet. Gonna educate your palate. Right here in Farmer's Kitchen. In Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're gonna cook something good now.
Funding for Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen brought to you by Woods Equipment Company has every tool you need to make working the land as rewarding as hunting it. L81 Bottling Company. Taste, love, and share the tradition. Rose Farm Supply. Family farming and commitment to our customers since 1982. Housewarmings, the outdoor living and fireplace experts.
Hello and welcome to Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen and Nikki Farmer's Country Kitchen.
That's right.
By golly. You know what? We're talking about turkey time. Talking about all kinds of stuff. People are asking us, how do you cook your wild turkey? There's a gazillion different ways to cook wild turkey. And we're going to do a couple things today, but we got to have a side, and that's going to take a little bit longer. So let's talk about something we did not too long ago. Do you remember when I found that really old cookbook? Remember that?
I do.
And then I looked in it, and it had the original hot brown recipe from the Brown Hotel.
I know where you're going.
Well, you know how some recipes lead to other recipes, and we thought, man, the creaminess of all these cheeses and the little roux, the butter roux that we did, man, I thought that would make the best macaroni and cheese in the world. Then you start thinking, okay, people are asking, they want a little more spicy stuff, so I'm thinking, let's take some of the Kentucky beer cheese,
good idea,
put in with that, with some jalapenos, and make it really yummy and spicy. So we're going to get that started, and if you want to refer back to the hot browner, we'll just show you what we're doing here. We're going to go ahead and turn our burner on and get some butter going, a little over half a stick. This will be a blonde roux, not those deep dark ones like they do down south.
I like yours better. I think I like a lighter one.
It's an acquired taste.
Right.
You know, down south, you know, it's got to have that burnt taste. And I like that too, but that's, you know, a lot of people aren't used to that, but I like it all. And we'll let that get going. I put about the same amount of flour as I had butter, and you know, just kind of eyeball it. I'm making a bigger batch than I did on the hot brown. I think we only did like a couple tablespoons of butter and a couple tablespoons of flour. I'm doing a little bigger. Now when you come back with your milk, just like we learned down in Louisiana, make sure your liquid's hot. I'm just going to kind of unclump that as we go along. And that was 2 cups of milk. Now look at that.
That's
look
good.
at that. Look at that. Now let's start putting cheese in.
All right. Which one you want?
Go ahead and put some American cheese in. Put some of that fresh grated Parmesan in there. And you're the boss. Whatever kind of cheese you want to put in there is fine. We're going to come back heavy with the cream, heavy whipping cream, 1/3 cup. There we go. No calories, amazingly enough.
Really?
They balance each other out.
Good.
See the bubbles? Every time you see a bubble, it takes a calorie out.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's scientific. You don't learn that everywhere.
No.
Find that out in Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. All right, now we're going to come back, start scooping me some Kentucky beer cheese in here. Start and give me till we get the right color. That brings in some garlic. Watch that darken up. It brings in, oh, it just brings in some heaven in there.
It's a good idea.
I'm telling you. Now let's go ahead and bring your macaroni over. I'm gonna take a little bit of white pepper, a little bit of black pepper. Then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna dump some jalapenos in there.
And then you're
Now,
where are you cooking this?
I'm gonna put this on the big green egg. Now, let me tell you what. I've got my big green egg about 325. You take this right off, pour this directly in, so you get everything covered up. Now this is stepping it up a notch from your regular mac and cheese. Now, what happens when you put it in a big green egg, and I got some big chunks of hickory, it's gonna roll smoke on it. You're gonna get an extra added flavor of smoke. I'm gonna put that in there for probably about, I don't know, a half an hour until I get a good brown look on top of it. And you know what? Forever and a day we've been displaying our food on cookware that we bought or plates that we bought.
Wherever.
A smattering here, a smattering there. Nobody knows where they're made or what goes on. And I started thinking, this is our country kitchen. We need country stuff, and we need it to be Kentucky. So I started thinking, how in the world can we do this? And I had a pattern in mind. I had a color in mind. I wanted earth colors to kind of match our counter here. And I looked online, and I found this color in this color pattern. And I started looking at these folks down around Berea. And it's called Tater Knob Pottery. Everything you see here, except for the macaroni dish, is absolutely Kentucky. The clay is from up where Mom and Dad are, up in Grayson, Kentucky. They mine the clay in Kentucky, send it off to Ohio to be processed, send it back to them. First of all, you go out, if you will, and take this and put it on the big green egg.
I'll do it.
And let's go visit with Tater Knob Pottery and Farm right outside Berea, Kentucky. We're at Tater Knob.
Yes, you are.
You know what? Let me tell you how this happened. Here we are at this Kentucky show. We show people how to do Kentucky stuff. We're earthy. We grow our own vegetables. We can, just like you do. Those pickles were wonderful, by the way. And
Glad you liked them.
And we're showing off all our food in these plates from Kohl's or Elder Bremer or something like that. And I thought I would like some earth colors, and boom, I get on and I put Kentucky earthenware, something made from Kentucky dirt. And man, there you were, Tater Knob. How long have you been doing this?
The business has been in existence 35 years.
Wow.
This year.
This year's the
Yes.
birthday.
I've been in clay 42, but I didn't start out being in business. I got good at being a potter before I had to go into business, which I was grateful for at Berea College. So the business has been in existence, and out of the 35 years, we've been 22 years out here in the Knob region of Kentucky, just east of Berea.
Absolutely beautiful.
It
out
is.
here.
It's a
Berea
gorgeous
is
place.
such a special place, and all the surrounding area.
It is.
It's a sense of community that you don't get anywhere else. People like each other. People work together.
Yes.
They have many artisans everywhere that make really cool stuff. Let's get back to the pottery. Is this made from Kentucky clay?
Yep, our clay comes out of the ground in Grayson, Kentucky, and Paducah.
Wait a minute, Grayson?
Grayson, just due west of Ashland, is where it's actually dug
That's
out
where
of
I grew up.
out of the hills, out of the
Son of
dirt.
a gun.
It's actually dug on a farm where the folks came and said, "Honey, isn't that the clay they're digging out of our yard?" And sure enough, it's a company in the southern part of Ohio that processes it and gets all the sticks and stones out of it. It's a custom clay that when it's heated gets hard enough that you can use it to bake in, store your food in, iced tea, use every day, and not have it chip or break unless you drop it. If you drop it, it's going to break because it's glass-like.
I never drop dishes, but Nikki drops them all the time.
Well, as long as we're alive, you can replace things.
Yeah. Now, as I looked around, you were talking, we walked through the shop and saw all kinds of beautiful stuff. But then you said, well, I could bake in this one. I'm like, wow.
Yes. Part of what I wanted to be when I became a potter was a potter that made things that people would use. I enjoy things that are beautiful, and I find great satisfaction in artistic expression on other forms of clay, but I wanted to make things that you could eat and drink out of, use on a daily basis for myself, much less other people.
Ain't that pretty right there?
It's beautiful.
That is gorgeous. I'm drinking coffee.
That's our son David's work. We're real proud of him. He's 22.
Now, as we were in there watching, I think he was making mugs.
He's
as we
making what
speak.
you're drinking out of.
The first thing that you're doing in throwing is called centering. You can see my knees are straight up and down. I'm keeping this ball of clay right in the middle of the wheel. One hand's pushing it up while the other hand's pushing it down. When you do those two together, it puts it right in the center of the wheel. So you get that clay right down in the middle of the wheel. Moving on to the next step, always supporting your hands, going almost all the way to the bottom of the wheel bat, and I'll pull a nice flat base. I need to leave enough clay down there so that in your coffee cup, vase whatsoever. If you bang it down on the table, it's got a nice thick bottom on it, not too thick, not too thin. Create a functional way of work here, so we want to have the same thickness all the way through it, so that when you put your nice pie in the oven, your pie plate doesn't crack because it's uneven. It's the same thickness all the way through your base, walls, and everything. Moving on up, you're making a pull. In the ceramic world, we try to do a 3-pull, to where I get all my height, all my width, with 3 pulls. I want to get as much coffee in this coffee mug as I can, and I want to be able to sell it for as much money as I can. So I don't want to leave it heavy, waste clay, anything along the lines of that. So I'm trying to get it to that same thickness. On the 3rd pull, I really shape it. I put it into the last form that it's going to be. I'm not going to go back and touch it again, maybe once more. I'll put a collar up on the top. That gives your eye something to look at. Also lets you have a line to attach your handle to. And one tool that I use is a little trimming tool, and it's going to put a bevel on here. That creates a foot, gives your eye something to look at. Keeps condensation that's acquiring on the side from, instead of straight dripping down the walls, drips onto this bezel at the bottom and will hopefully evaporate before it hits your nice hardwood table.
But I bet if you looked hard enough around there, you probably have something to put on your table, would you not, to put that on?
We have coasters. I made coasters a couple of years ago. We still got a big basket out of there of them. We use a piece of string just like you fly a kite with. Pulls it through the bottom. You gotta dry your hands off. If your hands are wet, it slips and slides around on there. You really easily pick that up and set it aside. As you can see, I've got a full board full. I don't sit down and make one pot. We're a production pottery where if I made one mug, I'd have to put on one handle and I'd have to glaze one mug, and that doesn't get you very far. So I make 25 mugs, put 6 in each color whatsoever, distribute them into the even colors, and that lets me be a little bit more time efficient. We can't just make one. We're going to sit down and we're going to make 25 mugs, 12 pie plates. It's not time efficient to just sit down in one.
Now, what is your, if you had to guess, or you probably know, what is your most popular item that you sell here?
There's one item that we sell a lot of. There's really 2. We sell a lot of Jeff's pie plates and Sarah's spoonbread bakers. Sarah's spoonbread bakers she's had for 35 years. It's a multifunctional item. Fits a brownie mix, a box cake, your scalloped potatoes, your lasagna, spoonbread. Treat it the same as Pyrex. As long as you don't stick it in a scalding hot oven, it'll last you the rest of your life unless you drop it on the concrete floor.
So you guys work every day on some end of this production?
Yes, sir. I'll throw these mugs, and by tomorrow morning I'll have had them under plastic, and I'll be able to come in and finish them. And it's not going to take me all day to pull 25 handles. So you stay in the motion of I'll come in and I'll finish these mugs, put handles on them, and I'll set them out to dry. And hopefully by down the line, we'll fill up all of our cupboards and we'll fire our first kiln that's called a bisque firing.
Jeff, it's a little warmer in here than it is out there. What's going on?
We have a kiln that just fired today. It takes about 8 hours to get to 2,100 degrees.
Wow, that's pretty warm.
It is.
Tell us about the process. What's going on right here? These are waiting patiently to be...
They're getting dry. As you saw earlier, David doesn't take too long to make the item. He's going to pull handles and decorate the outside of it, and then it takes 2 days to dry, and then it takes a day to bisque fire. It takes 2 days to glaze it and fire it in a glaze kiln before it's done. So the whole process takes about 7 days before it's done.
So what step is this right here?
This is greenware. You add water to this dissolves back to its natural state.
Wow.
Once it's been bisque fired and you add water to it, it just absorbs the water and it doesn't dissolve. This will literally dissolve into putty if you add water to it.
When you put your colors on, obviously the colors are different before you put it in than coming out. Are these ready to fire? After how long a period of time will you put these in?
These are single fired, so we do a slip decoration, a whole blue slip, and then we do some brushwork on the inside of it. And before this gets bone dry, we add a cup of glaze in it and swirl it around the edge and pour it out. And the reason we do that mainly is so that we can stack them up like this, 3 high, and that saves a lot of space. And then since they're raw fired, we only fire this item 1 time. What's next for it is we sand them and sign them, and then they're ready to be glaze fired. but they have to be bone dry or else they'll blow up in the kiln.
We don't like that, right?
No, we don't like that.
Does it make a noise when it blows up?
Yeah, it does actually.
Can you show us what it sounds like? I'm just kidding.
We shut this off is at 2,100 degrees. These are called pyrometric cones. And instead of using a pyrometer, this is a 100-year-old cone company that's used in steel industry, all kinds of industries. But when it gets hot enough, they begin to melt. And when this cone bends to that state, it tells us that it's at 2,100 degrees, and we shut the kiln off manually.
What if somebody wants to come down here and check your stuff out? What is your physical address so they can put it in their fancy smancy GPS?
It's 260 Wolf Gap Road, and that's Berea, Kentucky.
And by gosh, you drive up the driveway, the dogs come, I'm not sure if it's a dog or a bear.
Storm is a Great Pyrenees Chow mix,
yep.
And he's 12 years old. We have people who come just for our animals because they're so friendly, and people like to see that Storm's still here, and Ari's not barking at him anymore, he's growing up. But they especially love our work and the quality of the work that we do because it lasts.
Mm-hmm. So I would imagine that people come to you and say, I want this for a wedding, or
Correct.
You do custom work.
Yes.
But if somebody wants a whole set,
yes,
you say, hey, here you go. It's Kentucky proud.
Yes, it is.
By golly.
We are. So we do events. We do 2 events here at Tater Knob a year, offering a festive atmosphere. We're open 6 days a week. Word of mouth is our best form of advertising because we give people a wonderful experience when they come. We let you in. We let the public in and watch us right up close and personal. There's no looking through a window. That's a hands-on experience, especially for people who are just dying to touch it, and you can see it in their eyes. We let them touch clay, we let them feel it, we give them an explanation of the process. They have much more respect for the price that we ask for the work. We keep our prices reasonable for a very out in the middle of nowhere business in Kentucky, and we're a national point of destination for folks coming through on the way to the Smokies, on the way to Florida, from the north, or on their way back home. So we have a wonderful return clientship that have watched us grow up. They've been following both my husband Jeff and I for 35 years as we've grown in and through this business. But we are very grateful that folks know we exist and tell their friends and come and see us.
Wasn't that pretty?
Beautiful stuff.
Look at the lamp burning back there. I mean, it's just a really cool place. You really, really need to go see these people. It's just
And we're getting
fantastic.
a set of dishes, right?
A set
whole
of dishes.
Set of dishes
and,
to use.
and that kind of, I told her to kind of do her own thing. I told her the color pattern we kind of wanted. I think
Right.
she likes the challenge of, kind of doing things in color schemes and so on and so forth. I can't wait to get those back. So you don't see us serving on stuff that we got from who knows where. All right, now you can see a pretty odd assortment of things laying out in front of us. You're thinking about turkey, you don't necessarily think of tacos. I started thinking about a marinade, a bourbon honey marinade. So I started thinking I was going to be clever and do a wild turkey recipe. So anyway, I looked online to make sure nobody else had done it, and guess what? Somebody beat me to the punch. So I thought, okay. And it was pretty similar to what I was going to do. I was going to do a flour recipe. And most recipes come from somewhere else, or they come from mistakes you've made, or you've learned something. For example, the hot brown. I started thinking about that hot brown sauce and macaroni and cheese, and we came up with this thing. And like I say, one recipe leads to the next, leads to the next. All right, here's the picture of the turkey I got this year, just a couple days ago. Now, a lot of times people say, man, my turkey is tough. And a lot of people fry them. We have so many different ways that we fix them, and we'll show you some different recipes. It's good just grilled, by the way. Wild turkeys are constantly running, using their muscles. They fly every day. They fly in and out of the roost. They fly when predators chase them. They fly when something scares them. It's a little darker meat than the domestic turkey.
Does it make it tougher too? A little bit tougher?
It's maybe a little tougher, but the taste is, to me, it's
good.
fantastic. Now, the legs are tough, and people said, you throw the legs away. Take the legs, skin them, freeze them. When you get a bunch of them together, I have a buddy of mine that made a pate, almost like a liver pate, that is absolutely delicious. What we're going to do is we're going to make this wild turkey marinade, and it's very simple. Let me read you the ingredients you're going to need for this. Yeah, they are a 1/4 cup of honey, a 1/2 cup of wild turkey bourbon, 2 tablespoons of deli mustard. We're going to use more of a sweet, spicy. A tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of Hungarian sweet paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. There's some great recipes out there. Don't be afraid to try some new stuff. try different things, use other people's recipes online. There's all kinds of stuff. We have many, many recipes on timfarmerscountrykitchen.com. Check them out. Click shows, then click YouTube, and you can check out all the shows that we've done back in the past. Also, check out our Facebook page, Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen Facebook page. Tells you where we're going, what we're doing, places to visit. If you like looking at all this pottery and stuff, you can visit these KETs. Go down there, look at May 10th. Look at the event on our Facebook page. There's some artisans down there all over the place that are making cool stuff with a Kentucky flavor. All right, let's get our fire going. Now, we're gonna cut up in little skinny strips so it fries up nice and tender. I've made marinades before, and if you have some left over, usually there's not, but the next day, that's where the tacos come in. Go ahead, Nikki, and cut these into about inch pieces. All right, now, what we're gonna do is go ahead and open this bag up, put those in. Now, I used the wild turkey American honey on there because I like that honey taste. I'm gonna take my half cup of wild turkey American honey, my honey, 1/4 cup, then we're gonna come back with about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce and let it get all nice and coordinated. And lastly, about 2 tablespoons of whatever type of spicy mustard that you like, Dijon, whatever. Go ahead and seal that up, Nikki, if you will. Put that in the fridge.
Mix it up a little.
Put that in the fridge. I'm gonna go check macaroni. And we're gonna let that soak in the refrigerator for about 4 hours. Now, through the magic of television, we bring the one out of the refrigerator because turkeys do have 2 breasts, and we love these things, so we're gonna eat the fire out of them. All right, Nikki, if you will, dredge those up. Here's your dry rub. 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, 1/4 teaspoon of dried basil, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now here's a little secret about turkey meat. You know, I remember when I was a kid, the old timers, they would kill their chickens and they would hang them up, sometimes for several days. Now what happens is that meat relaxes. We've got so incredibly out of touch with the way things used to be done. I put this turkey, I breast it out, put it on a plate and let it set for about 5 days. That lets that meat relax and it gets more tender. Now the meat is saturated with those ingredients.
That smells good.
Can't wait to eat some of this. Now you see how golden brown that is already? Smells heavenly. And again, I'm gonna check my macaroni. That macaroni and cheese is not scrumptious looking.
Looks delicious.
You know what? The thing that you gain by cooking it on a big green egg is that smoke is rolling. Now you're going to get the taste of the beer cheese. You're going to get the taste of this top has got brown like that. You get jalapenos, but the beer cheese is really going to pop with that smoke in it. Now these, I want you to try one of these.
Oh,
The bourbon makes everything sweet.
It's hot too. It's peppery.
It's a
sweet.
honey mustard-ish. Now I could sit there and eat that all day long. Now some people like their lettuce first, meat later. How do you like yours? Meat first?
Kind of meat first, yeah.
And if you have any left over, which you probably won't, the next day, you bring them out, warm them up, get you some nice fresh lettuce, some grated cheese. So now, a little bit of sauce. You like sour cream?
Mm-hmm. I've never had a turkey taco. Have you had
You're
a turkey
about to.
taco? They have fish tacos.
Now, look here. To top it off,
What's that?
hot, melted Kentucky beer cheese.
Yummy.
Give that a shot.
That's good. Pretty tasty. That beer cheese is
The
good.
sour cream, the lettuce, the beer cheese, and that sweet flavor. Oh my gosh, I could eat every one of those. Let's dip up some of this bubbly goodness. This is macaroni and cheese beyond belief.
I can tell the egg, the smoke from the egg. That's good. That's the best macaroni I've ever had.
Thank you so much for joining us on Tim and Nikki's Country Kitchen. And until next week, I'm Tim.
Nikki.
It's all about good times, good friends, good eats. See you next week. Got a surprise for you, by the way, too.
Special thanks to Chrisman Mill Vineyards, Good Foods Market and Cafe, Kentucky Beer Cheese, Polecat Custom Smokers, and Weisenberger Mill. Funding for Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen brought to you by Kentucky Sheep and Goat Development Office. Try something different tonight. Salt Rocks, the flavor of life.